Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to you all from your lounge rooms as we're in our theatre here. I'm not sure if how many people have got their sons and daughters with them. So if you're not familiar with the Zoom application, what I suggest that you do is up the top right-hand button, there is a little, it says gallery view. What I highly recommend is that you change that to speaker view so that the person speaking becomes the main person on the screen. The other thing that we're very keen for you to use is the chat button, which is down the bottom. You'll see there's a little icon with a chat. And so what we're going to encourage you to do is, if you have any questions or anything that you wish to have some further information in, please feel free to type those questions in. We have staff here who are monitoring the chat, and we will attempt to answer as many of those at the end of the evening. If at the end of the evening we haven't managed to cover everything, or there's questions that we would take quite a lot of detail, we will put out a frequently asked question sheet to everybody that has joined us tonight. We'll also be sending out some additional information as part of an enrolment package. So just feel free, you don't have to wait to the end of the session. You can start asking questions anytime that you feel you would like to. So before we begin the evening, I'd like to introduce myself. For many people, hopefully I'm a familiar face. If not, I'm Stephanie Omar. I'm privileged to be acting principal this year. I have been on the incredible journey with JPC since the beginning. I've been a foundation staff member, and it's a great privilege to be part of this wonderful learning community. Joining us this evening too, and I'm just going to step out so you can see, we have got Mr. Nick Whitman, who is joining us, our assistant principal for Mathai and Veritas House, Dr. Anne Cleary, that looks after Vantuan and Ferre, and last but never least, Mr. David Johns, who's looking after Kennedy and Drexel. So I'm actually going to hand over to our leadership team, who are going to begin with an acknowledgement to country and also our opening prayer. So I'll just pass over to Georgia and Gage to start.
I would like to acknowledge the Ngunnawal people, who are the traditional custodians of this land on which we are meeting, and pay respect to the elders of the Ngunnawal Nation, both past, present, and future. I extend this respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who are in attendance today.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God of love, we thank you for the gift of our college. Help us to recognise and celebrate the diverse gifts and talents that embody this unique community of education and faith. St. John Paul II called us to open wide the doors to Christ, so that we can be people of justice, peace, and courage in all that we do. Guide us on our journeys, strengthening us to follow the example of our patron as we seek to build your kingdom here and now. Empower us to be people of wisdom and integrity, seeking opportunities to learn and to grow in our knowledge of ourselves and of others. Send your Spirit into our heart so that we can be people of hope, with the strength and fortitude to proclaim with zeal the message of the gospel. May your loving presence be a source of inspiration for our students, staff, and parents. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. St. John Paul II, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Gage, and thank you, Georgia. And later you will be hearing from our students, because I believe they're our greatest testament to what we do here, and are truly incredible young people that we're very proud of. So we are here tonight to talk about the senior years and what it's like to be to undertake your senior years here at John Paul College. And I would like to talk about a few things, and the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the fact that I think as a small school, we are doing a remarkable job, and I believe that we're really punching far above our weight, if you'd like to use that terminology. We have had the current Year 12 group that are with us tonight are our third group through, but in the 2 years previously, we have had incredible success with our young people as they have graduated from us. So we have had incredibly positive academic results. So I can proudly say that every one of our students, so 100% success rate, that every one of them has received their Year 12 secondary school certificate. We have had outstanding success with our ATAR results, with high proportions of our students receiving those ATARs that get them into the universities that they are wanting to get into. And also that last year we were very pleased to be able to let the community know that we had our top student received a 99.25, which is an outstanding result. So like I said, a small cohort, but I think a mighty school doing some incredibly good work. But I also wanted to let you know that we're more than just academics, and that what we are also incredibly proud of is the number of students who have undertaken ASBAs with us, who have done VET courses, who have achieved nationally recognised certificates, which allowed them to progress their apprenticeships forward. And so again, when our students return to us and tell us of our successes, we are very excited to hear all about those. And each of our speakers tonight will be elaborating on that. So we've got those very obvious successes, but I guess the thing that I'm most proud of is that I truly believe that when students leave JPC, they leave as good, well-rounded, contributing members to the community. They are good people, and people that we are incredibly proud of. And that comes from very much our entrenched philosophies within the school. So when we began the school, we always talked about being a school with 21st century thinking, 21st century learning, and that we wanted the students, when they left us, to be children that could be workers and thinkers and creators in the 21st century. And so those, hopefully they're very familiar to people, but those core skills of collaboration, critical and creative thinking, communication, character and citizenship are those key skills that this world needs. And I think that's been recognised more and more by our universities, but also by our employees. So our universities now are not simply basing students getting into university on an ATAR or a number, but now universities are asking for more than that. They're asking for a portfolio that is asking students to demonstrate that they have a wide range of skills and that they are actually able to cope with the demands of both the university and the workplace, because they have those essential skills of being able to collaborate, critically and creatively think, communicate, that they're good citizens and that they're of good character. So I believe that the way that we approach education means that our students leave very well equipped with those absolutely key skills. And so the other thing I think that makes JPC a really wonderful place to undertake your senior years is that our focus is and always will be on the individual student. So we have small year groups in year 11 and 12, which means that our class sizes are quite small, and that means that there can be some very almost one-on-one teaching and learning that can occur in a class of 5 or 6 students. This year in Year 11, we have a specialist maths class that has 2 students, and I think they are remarkable teacher-student ratios and really allow the teachers to work closely with our students. But apart from the fact that we have very small class sizes, I think that our mentoring program and the fact that at the core of everything we do is that relationship and care that we take with our students. We want to get to know them, we want to look after them, and we want to work with you as parents to ensure that the things are working as best they can with between the school and home and the student. And so those mentoring conversations, the mentor emails that go home are absolutely key. And I'm putting on my mum hat now as a mum who's managed to get 3 children through Year 11 and 12, that support becomes even more important as the pressures and sometimes the stress around Year 11 and 12 become even greater. So instead of it being perhaps seen as a less required area, it certainly is one which I think is needed more and more. So small classes, one-on-one care. The other thing I want to say is that we have highly qualified but also hugely enthusiastic and hardworking teachers. I was only speaking to one of our new teachers this morning, and she was saying, I cannot believe how hardworking these staff are, and I have to agree with her. They are amazing. So as an umbrella, I think they're the things that I want to sort of highlight most to you. As I said, I think the proof is in the pudding, and I'm going to pass over to our senior students in a moment. But just before I do, I did want to mention that for the last 2 years, and certainly for this year, we will be offering scholarships for years 11 and 12. And when the information and enrolment package goes out to families, we will ensure that that information about how to apply for our scholarships is very clearly one of the links that you'll be able to look at. So enough from me. Over to our beautiful students here. So Georgia and Gage, I think we're going to start with you. So I'm going to mute myself, and I look forward to listening to everything that happens tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Omar. Hi, everybody. So in Year 11 and 12, I do a range of subjects. So I do everything from specialist methods, maths to French, human biology, English, literature and religion. And in Year 11, I also did graphic design. And I've really enjoyed and still am enjoying all of the subjects that I'm doing. One of the special things about JPC for me is the leadership opportunities. It's something that I probably wouldn't have felt comfortable doing if I'd changed schools. And it's given me a really good opportunity to develop lots of my skills. And another thing I really do like about JPC is ILT, because it gives me a chance to have even more one-on-one time with my teachers, and it's a really great time for me to get feedback on assessments and just extra time to talk about my questions about my subjects. Yeah, I'll hand over to Gage.
Hi everyone. So my name's Gage. My package is mainly around sports and technology. In Year 11, I did exercise science, and I dropped it from last year, but also I took up sports development. One thing that I've found that staying at JPC for years 11 and 12 is the leadership opportunities. I think being a leader of the college, you're looking as a role model to the younger students that are coming through. I think JPC also gives the learning about what is a leader a lot more. And then you look at your portfolios as well. So you got your justice, peace and your courage leaders, and then you also got your college captains. So I think definitely staying at JPC has gave me a chance to almost grow as a leader and look forward to the future as a leader. I'll pass over to the justice leaders now, and they'll share their thoughts.
Hi, I'm Omar, a leader of justice here at JPC. I'm currently studying a mix of Soc and art studies. Since my beginning at JPC in 2018, I have grown into a friendly community and made my way to become a school leader. The college offers a range of courses tailored to your future. They assist by preparing students for university and other aspects of the future by focusing on independent development, which is a great tool for universities and college. Within JPC, we are a tight-knit community, which is what we are experiencing and exploring in our portfolio, offering well-being and community-driven ideas to give back to the city we know and love. And I'll pass it on to Winnin.
Hi everyone, I'm Winnin and I'm the other leader of Justice. I'm studying a mix of subjects in STEM and humanities here at JPC. I've been at JPC since year 7, and throughout my experience, I've always felt a strong sense of community and justice here at JP. In my senior years, the smaller number of students has allowed me to get closer to everyone around me. Having such a tight community has, I guess, allowed me to work on my strengths, challenges, and motivations, especially when it comes to asking for advice and thinking about my future career. The seniors all have a close relationship to all our teachers and mentors, and there are so many services the school offers us, like counselling, that have continued to help push us all forward. My senior years have been a lot of fun, and I'm very grateful that I have a community I can rely on. I'll just pass it on to the peace leaders.
Hi everybody, I'm Kate, one of the peace leaders. I'm a tertiary student and I'm very active in the arts, so I take drama and media, which are both highly creative and practical, which is great because they're good outlets during your senior years. I'm active in the performance side of John Paul. Being in the arts gives you lots of great opportunities like excursions to the theatre. You're able to participate in performances both at school and at external events. And the school musical is a great chance to take part in all of the arts, so drama, dance and music. And I'll hand it over to Paris.
Hi, my name is Paris and I'm the other peace leader this year. I undertake a tertiary package with a real mix of subjects, and I also do a VET course, which is hospitality. One thing that I really enjoy and like at JPC is the support that I get from teachers, whether this is in class, seeking help and feedback regarding my work or assessment work, getting drafts checked and mentoring. Mentoring as a senior has been really beneficial for me, and my mentor has helped me and supported me throughout my senior schooling. One part of mentoring as a senior that I have found particularly useful is how my mentor motivates me and supports me through heavy assessment periods and helps me to achieve my goals. I'd now like to hand over to the courage leaders.
Hi guys, I'm Izzy Hendon and I'm a courage leader at JPC. I do a tertiary package that's science and health and physical activity based. So I do exercise science and health and wellbeing, as well as chemistry. And those are just subjects that I was really interested in my junior years of high school. And throughout my journey here at JPC, I've done a lot of gala days, and also we've recently started introducing senior students into being coaches for gala day teams. Like I do a lot of the rugby ones, and it's a really good way to keep the community together and doing a physical activity and keeping healthy. So I'd like to pass over to Andre.
Thanks, Izzy. Hello, everyone. My name is Andre Pa. I'm the other courage leader, and I'm often involved in the performing arts at JPC, mainly music. For my tertiary subjects, I'm currently taking music, IT, business, English, and math. And I feel that I understand much of what these subjects have to offer. I'm in a few bands and often assist behind the scenes during our many music performance nights, and our musical. And from all that I've experienced at JPC from years 7 to 12, it's safe to say that the performing arts culture here is rich, developed, inclusive, and full of opportunities that any student can leap at. So I suggest you participate in the performing arts. Back to Ms. Amara.
Terrific, thank you. And as you can tell, there's an eclectic range of courses that our students undertake here and always playing to their strengths. And we are going to be running another session next week where our leaders of faculties are actually going to be offering a chance for students to actually, and parents, to ask questions and to zoom in and to be able to discuss what all these subjects are at the senior level. And so I really encourage you to have a look at the classes. We'll be sending out the timetable tomorrow with the Zoom links to that, and so that's a good chance to go and have those questions about, well, what maths level am I best to be perhaps looking at? What's this psychology course that you're talking about? You know, what do I study in history or physics or chemistry? So I really encourage you to do that. I'm actually going to bid farewell to our seniors. The reality of their world is that they are extremely busy at the moment, and so they have lots of work that they need to do. So thank you very much for everybody for being here, and we'll see you shortly next week back in the building. Can't wait to see you. Thanks, guys. I'm just seeing that there are some chats starting to come through. Just if you keep putting them in there, that will be great, and we will be attempting to answer all those questions at the end, but don't feel you have to wait, just keep popping them through and we will monitor them. So as you were listening to the students talking about their subjects, they were talking about tertiary and those sorts of things. The senior world is a complex and quite a different world, and we are extremely lucky that Dr. Anne Cleary is an expert in the area of all things senior school and BTripleS, which is the umbrella under which we have to sit to complete our senior courses. So I'm actually going to pass you over to her to let her share her wisdom and knowledge around everything that is BTripleS. So thank you, Anne.
Turn your microphone on, Anne.
Hello.
Yep.
Okay. I think the echoes have subsided now. So thank you for that prompt. So yes, I'm going to even further test the technology skills. I wanted to go through some information around senior studies. I can see in the chat that there are questions around colleges and motivations for where your sons and daughters may want to go. There's some discussion that can be had specifically around that, but I guess I want to frame it as what we offer at JPC as far as senior studies are the same senior studies that occur in every secondary college in the ACT. And that's where I want to go through my slides. Sorry, now I'm going to have to do a screen share. Sorry, host disabled screen sharing. Thanks. So what you're looking at now, just my intro slide to make sure I'm going. So every secondary college in the ACT runs with their own unique flavour and their selection of subjects from what the suite that is on offer from the BTripleS. So just the logos up there. We're in partnership with the BTripleS to deliver the learning programs to the students and to assess the students. And the BTripleS are the overarching authority for all schools in the ACT. So there are a lot of rules and regulations. The Policies and Procedures Manual is quite extensive. It is available on the BTripleS website if you'd like to read it. But we need to, as a school, follow those rules and regulations, as does every other school in the ACT. Just a bit of setting out of how that senior secondary system works. The BTripleS up here are the ones who set curriculum. They actually write curriculum in collaboration with teachers at colleges. So they actually put out expressions of interest, and it is teachers in the ACT who write the ACT curriculum under the guidance of the BTripleS and with input from tertiary authorities and with referencing to other states and territories as well. So it's very informed. But what we teach is specific to the ACT. Each school then adopts the courses that they want to teach to their cohort of students. Then we come across to the schools. We're then delivering that learning, and in some form, students are doing assessment so that we are gauging how well they are learning that information. The key to all our assessment is that the work is graded, and it's the same as junior school in the sense that the students are achieving between an A and an E grade. And all students in senior secondary studies will get a grade on that 5-point scale. And the students work really hard at that to obviously do the best they possibly can. And then there's a group of students who will be ranked. And that means, yes, in order from the highest achieving student to the lowest. And that's a rank order in the cohort here at JPC. And they generate a score, which reflects their ranking also in the ACT. That information is what the BTripleS uses to generate the ATAR for tertiary students. And a couple of our seniors mentioned that in there when they were talking about their packages. So some students will be aiming for an ATAR, and obviously the best ATAR that they could possibly achieve. All our students, no matter what package they choose, whatever subjects they choose, they're all aiming for the ACT Senior Secondary Certificate, and they will receive the ACT Senior Record of Achievement. So really the certificate is put it in a frame and put it on the wall and enjoy it as an accomplishment. And the Record of Achievement is the one that lists all of the subjects and levels of achievement on those throughout those 2 years of study. I think what is really great about the ACT system has really come to the fore in this last few months, in that all of the assessment is here in this middle section, controlled by schools. So we are setting the learning for our students, we're keeping in touch with our students, and we are assessing the learning that we have been delivering to those students in a way that meets the needs of our students. Now, and that's fantastic in the current situation. I'm sure in no way was the system set up for seeing this particular outcome, but it's really working in our favour at this time. It's not saying students aren't stressed, but as a school, we can definitely be supporting them through our system. Given that it's all that judgment is based at school, you've got to ask, well, how do we know that any school is judging students at the appropriate level? And one of the key ways of doing that is through Moderation Day, which occurs twice a year. So as junior students, they generally know it as the day off they get, but in fact, it's a day of hard work for teachers of senior subjects as they get together and look at the work samples, so the assessment tasks and the student responses. And we're actually and we're not grading as such, we're affirming the grades of our colleagues. And if there are any issues, we write reports affirming and pointing out areas for improvement, and that information goes to the BTripleS, who then get back in touch with the individual schools with that feedback. And we're very proud here at JPC to be getting really good feedback from those moderation days, meaning that the grades we are allocating to students from our assessment are matching the ACT standards, and that we can be guided by that we are doing a good job, that we are grading our students appropriately, and that their results are going to hold as they move through their senior years. So you've heard a little bit about packages. If you've already got a student who is in senior school, you'll know some of this, and this is where not being able to look at the audience and gauge where you're at is a bit tricky. But we have students, obviously our year 10 cohort. Our goal, and in response to some of those questions, our goal is that all our students continue on with us for year 11 and 12. You've got to look at the colleges and what they have to offer around support for students, and where are they going to achieve best. what sort of support do they need in these senior years where independence is fantastic, but is too much? How self-directed are they? So there's all sorts of things around that. But in any student moving into senior school will need to make the first decision. Are they going into a tertiary package, which I'll go through first? About 75% of our students typically choose a tertiary package. What does that tertiary package do? It leads directly to the ATAR. So at the end of year 12, they will get a number up to 99.95, which is used by universities as part nowadays of their entry requirements. So it's a direct entry pathway to university. About 25% of our students currently choose the accredited pathway. So those students are the ones that generally are doing vocational certificates, although you heard Paris is doing a vocational certificate in a tertiary pathway, so that still works. It's a lot of work. Well done, Paris. It's also a pathway that allows students to do an Australian school-based apprenticeship. So Mr. Johns will talk a little bit about that, but it is about getting students who are not thinking that tertiary university pathway is for them, that they're actually building qualifications and still getting their year 12 they're getting nationally recognised qualifications as well as their year 12 certificate. If students choose the tertiary pathway and then find that it is too challenging for them at this point, they can move into an accredited package. So when you're having those discussions at home about which pathway to go, think about what's the outcome in 2 years. It's a little bit hard to think 2 years ahead when you're sort of 15, 16 years old. But think about if tertiary is the best way and or giving it a go, that's fine. You can move to accredited if you need, but you can't really move from accredited to tertiary. There are additional requirements in the tertiary package that are very difficult to catch up on if you start accredited. As I said, in all cases, it doesn't matter which pathway you go, you get the same qualification, the senior secondary certificate. And I'll follow that up with this slide. To summarise, if you go the accredited pathway, you'll get grades, you won't get scores on the work, and you will not get an ATAR at the end. And that's fine if university study is not for you. It may also be that you just are not working at that level of demand at this point in time, that the workload is too much and you're still building your skills. If you do an accredited pathway and do a fantastic job at that, there are many alternate pathways to university after school. And just one of them is a principal's recommendation. So universities like ACU and UC do have a principal's recommendation scheme, and students put in an application and we look at their academic record and their engagement with the school and their outlook on life, and we can recommend students directly into university through that pathway. If students are taking the tertiary pathway, they will get the grades, they will get the scores. Those scores are not percentages. It's not you did the test and got 89%. It is where do you rank. It's a number indicating a rank in the cohort. And it is from those rankings that the ATAR is generated. So a tertiary student will get grades, scores, and an ATAR. And I've put vocational there as well. It's not really a separate pathway. Accredited can exist by itself, just doing accredited subjects. But often accredited students will take vocational subjects, in which case they not only get grades, but they build competencies that they can use towards nationally recognised certificates. So they can actually leave school with qualifications that they can take anywhere with them in Australia. So one of the biggest choices really for students at this point is to start thinking about which pathway is the pathway they want to follow. It's a really important time as well, because really a student needs to be, as a general statement, getting good solid C's or above to really be thinking about a tertiary pathway. We're only well, we're not quite, but halfway through the year. It's a really good time for Year 10 students to take stock of how they're travelling, what's their work ethic, are they doing their homework, are they meeting deadlines? Because they've got another semester now to really look at what areas of those study skills they can be enhancing, they can work with their mentors. What do they want to work on so that when they get to Year 11, they are really skilled and ready to go. So it's a really important time for Year 10s to really knuckle down and build those skills that they need to succeed in senior school. Just here at JPC and many of the Catholic colleges, we do Year 11 students study 6 subjects. And as you've heard from our leaders, many of our Year 12 students, they drop one subject and complete Year 12 with 5 subjects. And that just allows them to focus a little bit more on their areas of strength and passion and trying to really excel in those in the second year of their senior secondary studies. What subjects they study, it's up to the students. What is their passion? What is their drive for most of their choices? You heard an eclectic mix from all our leaders. There's no requirement to be doing doing a science or doing all science or all arts. There's students who can focus in those areas, but then there are students who spread themselves across a breadth of areas. The compulsory requirements are English. That is an ACT system-wide requirement. And RE in all of the Catholic schools of the ACT, there is a requirement to complete a minor in RE. Now, many of our students actually continue that subject into their Year 12 studies, and they do that because they're doing really well in it. So students who particularly are humanities-based students who may be doing well in English, they might potentially be doing 1 or they could be doing 2 histories, might be doing psychology. Students who have strengths in that area often show a strength in the study of religious studies in senior school. It's an academic subject across that is written by the BTripleS for all colleges in the ACT. And if your students are good at it in that humanities area, then definitely it's something that they may not choose by choice at the beginning, but once they get into it, I think they really get involved in that area of study. We've also got maths down here. It's actually not an ACT requirement to study mathematics. They got close to making that recommendation, but decided not to because the ACT system is renowned for its high level of flexibility. We do highly recommend it though at JPC as well, particularly for students who are in a tertiary package. Maths is the only subject that has levels in it, and that's a conversation we can continue at a later time. But choosing the level of maths is informed by their success in Year 10 and conversations with their maths teachers. A really important point when students are making choices about their subjects is to note that all subjects in any package are equivalent. Many of us have done our senior secondary studies in a different state. So I'm from Victoria originally. I know many parents are also, they're from New South Wales. And there's a very different way of calculating ATARs and scores from the studies students do at school. It's really important to know that in the ACT, all subjects are equivalent. So choose what you are skilled in and what you're comfortable with and are excited to study, and you will do the best that you can do. Don't choose a subject because you think it is scaled up or gets bonus points in scaling. Anything like that does not exist in the ACT. So don't choose physics if you're a dancer. Don't choose art. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's right. If you're a dancer, do dance, excel in dance. And the person who's skilled in physics will excel in physics. But don't try and avoid or choose subjects because you think there's some magic scaling in the background. There isn't. The other really important thing, and we always remind students at the beginning of year 11, is that year 11 and year 12 count equally. And that's again why it's really important at this point for our year 10 students to really knuckle down, because as soon as you jump into next year, that very first semester is counting just as much as the final semester of year 12. And as Ms. Omar said, we've had fantastic results at JPC, and I've just got a couple of slides to finish off just to show some of the data around our students' success. So we've only had 2 graduating cohorts, but so far we've done exceptionally well. So as you can see from there, we're getting students above 90. 13% of our students were above 90 last year, along with our 99 ATAR. And if you look down, 66 are getting 70 and 87% are getting 60. Pretty much those levels of ATAR achievement will get you into university in Canberra. And when I can see the audience, there's a few people who have a bit of a giggle when you think about, do you actually want your child staying in the ACT or moving away for tertiary study? But the data says they'll get ATARs that pretty much say they can stay home with you for the next 3 to 4 years. What are they doing? Oh, well, I guess, where are they going first? So of last year's cohort specifically, you can see that the majority of our students actually went to the University of Canberra, but they also spread across ANU, TAFE, UNSW, ACU, and some directly into the workforce. And in what areas are they doing? Doing their exploration of the world? Well, there's a huge range there. And I think that list that you can read shows you that our students study a real range of subjects. They succeed in their studies, and then they're equipped and go out and choose those areas of passion where they want to go out and make a difference in the world. So really there is no restriction on what and where they can go when they study at JPC. So at that point, thank you very much for paying attention. I would now like to pass to Mr. Nick Whitman, who's going to talk to you all a little bit about ILT and how it works in senior school. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cleary, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. I'm going to quickly talk about ILT and the importance of ILT in senior years, and I guess that transition into university and the skills that you are picking up through JPC and the independent learning time. And I'm just going to sort of touch on a little bit of really interesting research from Flinders University about how important independent learning skills really are. So there's an abundance of papers and research that sort of states that transitioning into university is quite difficult for a lot of students due to that, I guess, that lack of independent learning skills and that a lot of that self-regulation, which students who attend JPC are really picking up all the time. So through independent learning time, we have the opportunity to really develop those resilience, the motivation and self-regulation skills that transition well into university as well. It's also stated that a lot of students who do transition into university, as mentioned, find it really difficult, and that retention rate really increases if they can develop these skills quickly. So really what we're providing students with through independent learning time is, I guess, a process where they can develop a lot of skills, particularly around independent learning, critical and creative thinking, which they're going to need when they move into university or their employers. Recently, there's been a really big push for employers for their employees to have a lot of independent learning skills, as well as resilience, problem-solving skills, critical and creative thinking, all of which we really foster and develop through our independent learning time. And as it's stated in lots of the research, that these skills are vital in the career progression of lots of our students. There was a question just before about how does ILT work in senior years, And essentially it works the same as it does in the junior years. So students have independent learning time throughout the week. But I guess the real advantage of ILT at JPC is that we have the flexibility to be able to provide really targeted skills, particularly around the AST, which students will sit in year 12. So that's a really a large test that students will become in the senior years sort of look toward in their year 12 year. And so we have the opportunity and flexibility in ILT to really target a lot of those skills that they're going to need to complete that. So there's lots of flexibility and lots of opportunities there to develop the skills which students are going to need when they transition into the workforce or into university. So we really pride ourselves on our ability to really deliver a really high quality programs for our students, fostering a lot of these independent learning time skills that they're really developing. I'm now going to pass to Mr. David Johns, who's going to talk a little bit about mentoring.
Thanks very much, Mr. Whitman. That's appreciated. Thank you very much, and we're all very proud of you out there in Cyberland and the way you're concentrating here. We're almost done. I'm the last speaker, so I hope we can finish quickly and you guys can get sorted with dinner and that sort of thing. It's quite interesting, you know, having 3 children and almost all of them are out of the nest. There are often conversations around, well, the only reason why you say that, Dad, is because you're our parents and you're not allowed to say anything else. And I have to be honest with you, there are times, even though I am a parent, that I have wanted to say other things, but I've had to bite my tongue. But you know what's interesting? You know, one of the gifts of being a parent is the reason why you're aspirational about your kids and the reason why you love them so much is because you see the concerning things they do, but you also see the wonderful things they do. And as parents and as carers, we always focus on the great things they do. And I was asked to talk a little bit about mentoring. And mentoring is all about that concept of being an advocate for the boy or the girl under your care. And it's interesting, you know, for a lot of you guys out there currently, a lot of you have already been through year 7 through 8, 9, and then now in year 10. You've actually got an advocate within the school. In other words, you've got a person within the school that knows your son or daughter significantly well. And as you know, we look at the head, the hands, the heart, and the spirit. And we look at all those aspects of that young man or woman and is an advocate for them. And in being an advocate, it means that when other things potentially start crumbling around them, you as the mentor can actually champion them and support them. And the gift of the mentor in the context of John Paul College cannot be underestimated. It's incredibly powerful. And I hear and I see obviously comments in the chat about students moving on. It's a really big decision to make. It's a big decision to make because you're going into a space which initially could be quite exciting and brand new and fantastic, and obviously offer opportunities for people that need them. But to go to a space where you're not known for arguably the 2 most significant years of your schooling, you know, you've got to be careful how you navigate through that. And, you know, as far as mentoring is concerned at the college, you know, that is a massive diamond for us. And a lot of the students often talk about it. It's quite interesting during our period of online learning, you walk around the school and you see teachers zooming in and talking to kids as mentors. And I'm hearing comments like, you've got this. I know what you're like in year 9. Now you're in year 12. Remember in year 9 when you did this? You've got this in year 12 or you've got this in year 11 because I saw you lift yourself up. And that comment can't happen unless you're known to the community. And I think there's enormous strength in that and something I think we all need to consider. Having said that, it's about opportunities and subject choice. Obviously, one of my areas is looking at VET and ASPAs. And prior to our online space, we actually had 4 ASPAs that were in the process of being tied down. We had 1 in personal training, we had 1 in nursing, we had 1 in automotive, and we had 1 in construction. And that was a wonderful opportunity for a handful of kids moving forward into year 11. Obviously that stalled, but the hope is that that then will become or be resurrected as we eventually move back into to full face-to-face learning once again. And I suppose in closing, the other thing that we need to be aware of is the religious component. And obviously, you know, one of the areas that I teach is religion, world religions in year 11 and year 12. You know, it's really interesting. You know, one thing that this online space and the things that are happening around the world have taught us is the value of connectivity, connecting to other people, connecting to your community, realizing that you have gifts in yourself, and ultimately we get meaning and purpose by demonstrating how we can use our gifts to make people around us aspire to great things. A study of religion improves opportunities of connectivity because it enables people to understand and validate where people are coming from. And there's real strength in that. There are academic strengths in that, as was mentioned by Dr. Cleary, but I'm talking about the holistic person. You know, the one thing that taught us about what we're just pushing our way through is the fact that people see events around the world very differently. Some of it's based on culture, but culture is intrinsically influenced by religion. And by being able to understand religion, we're understanding our fellow humans and our brothers and sisters, and understanding how we can engage with them to make sure that this global village is inclusive for everyone. So I ask you to think about those things, think about religion and the gift of that, think about the potentiality of ASBAs as we move forward, and think about the ultimate strengths of mentoring as being a large diamond for the school in terms of progressing your children and supporting them through the senior years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johns. And so thank you, Mr. Johns. I'm going to. I know we've missed some of the questions as we've been going through, because they have been flying through. We've been trying to type and answer them. If we go back and think we've missed any, what we will do is we will certainly put out that frequently asked question sheet, and hopefully that will be able to answer any of those questions, and it might give Anne, David and Nick a chance to have a quick look. I know there was a question about small groups and scale that I might get Dr. Cleary to quickly come back to. But one of the things that I did want to go right back to the beginning, and I do love how parents suddenly find that they're not the only person in the room with a child that's telling them, yeah, but mum, everybody's leaving. I suppose the other answer to that question is that we've certainly, every year we hear the same comments that everybody's leaving. In our first year, we had 78% of our students stay, which again is not everybody leaving. Last year we had 68% of our students stayed with us. I'm looking at Miss Davis, who's a guru of all statistics. We have started to receive people's, some people are starting to return their Year 10 commitment forms, and can I say at this stage, the majority of the responses that we have got back, and so we've got 25 responses back at this stage, and I would say 90% of them or more are affirming that they're actually staying. So I think there sometimes can be a little bit of panic that somehow they're going to be left behind, or they're going to be the only ones standing in the school, and the reality is that's often not the case at all. So just wanted to reaffirm that, but having those conversations with other parents is so important. It's like, but mum, everybody's going to the party. I can guarantee you that everybody's not going to the party. So just it's a great way for us to be able to work together as parents and as the school to help you with that. There's a question about the Year 10 commitment form. Yes, that's been mailed out, but also we will send it again, and it will also be part of the enrolment package. I'm just going to hand you over to Dr. Cleary very quickly to answer that question about small. Did you see that one, Dr. Cleary? I'm just going to go back up. When I was talking about small groups and them being a real advantage, somebody had written, and I'm really sorry, it's right back up the top.
I can answer, Jim.
Sorry?
I can make a general response.
Oh, you can make, it was that they don't scale well, small groups. No, okay. So I'm like I said, the expert knows. Wait a minute, I'm going to...
Scaling is a really interesting topic. It's something I do love, and next, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to do a talk with Year 11 students, but I think the plan is to record it and then make it available to try and unravel some of the mystery around scaling and what it actually means. I can say very quickly, there is absolutely no disadvantage to a student if they happen to be in a small group. We do have, the grading of the work is based on the achievement standards for that particular subject. And if your child is a middle range student in that subject, they're going to get a middle range ranking. If they are a top ranking student in that subject, they're going to be a top ranking student. So really, if it's a small group and they're all phenomenally strong students, they're all going to get great results. If they're in a small group and they're a group of strugglers for whatever reason, then they will get lower results. But the size of the group itself will in no way affect the final scores of the students. And I'm very confident of the processes we have at school here to ensure that we're giving fair scores to the students in our cohort. It's to our benefit, obviously, to make sure we're doing the best for our students. And ultimately, in the end, it's the AST that all students do in Year 12 if they're going for an ATAR. That scaling test will determine whether we have been fair in the scores we give our students. And I'm very confident in that process. So it's probably for a longer conversation to really get into the nitty-gritty, but just to reassure you, it doesn't matter whether your son or daughter chooses subjects with lots of students or a few students, the scores they get will be very fair to them. Pass it back to Miss Omar.
Oh, and unmute. Okay, well, look, thank you, everybody. I am very much aware that we probably missed a few questions. Like I said, we will go through those very carefully and answer those for you and send them out hopefully by tomorrow afternoon. What you might find is that what I've really noticed in the chat is that we've answered questions probably 2 or 3 questions below because as we've been typing other questions that come in, so it might be a bit tricky to follow them. So we will collate all that for you and get that information out so that you're able to have those questions answered. Somebody's written about, am I best to talk to my mentor? Certainly, I think if your mentor is very much a person that knows your child very well, then I think that's always an excellent place to start. But if you're perhaps wanting to talk about pathways and things like that, again, Tina Zorzi, who looks